What happens when love, power, and secrets collide in Genoa City? This week on The Young and the Restless, Victor Newman makes a stunning reversal. Claire Newman is left questioning everything, and Audra Charles finds herself trapped with no easy way out. It begins with a surprising move from Victor. After weeks of resisting Claire's romance with Kyle Abbott, Victor finally softens. In a rare moment of vulnerability, he sits down with Claire, assures her that his actions have only ever been about protection, and asks for her forgiveness. To everyone's shock, Victor decides he will no longer stand in the way of her relationship with Kyle. It's a heartfelt gesture that leaves Claire skeptical at first, but eventually moved as she hugs her grandfather, convinced that maybe, just maybe, his change of heart is real. But trouble never stays far away in Genoa City. At the same time, Devon Winters meets with Nate Hastings in the park, pressing him for answers about Audra Charles and her manipulative schemes. Claire's accusations about Audra plotting with Victor to sabotage her relationship with Kyle are now out in the open, and Devon isn't afraid to call it like he sees it. To him, Audra is the least trustworthy of the bunch, and he urges Nate to follow his instincts. The problem? Nate knows his gut is pointing in a direction he doesn't want to face. Meanwhile, Claire vents to her mother, Victoria, about Audra's endless lies and how she twisted everything to make Kyle look guilty. But just when Claire thinks Victor will remain her greatest obstacle, he surprises her again, this time backing her relationship and even calling Kyle to the ranch. Kyle, however, isn't walking into that meeting with clean hands. At society, he confesses to his parents, Jack and Diane, that he did in fact share a kiss with Audra during his trip to Nice. He insists it was part of his plan to trap her, but guilt weighs heavy on him. Jack and Diane encourage him to be honest with Claire before she finds out some other way. Kyle fears the damage it could do, but when Claire excitedly reveals that Victor has given them his blessing, his secrets become even harder to carry. Victor, in his typical style, doesn't make the meeting easy. Though he claims Kyle has passed his test and vows not to block their relationship any longer, he also warns that he'll be watching closely. For Kyle, that promise is both a relief and a looming threat. And then there's Audra. Furious that Claire exposed her scheme, she unloads to Sally Spectra at Crimson Lights. Audra insists Claire is being vindictive and overdramatic, but Sally doesn't let her off the hook. She reminds Audra that working with Victor always came with risks, and now those risks are catching up to her. Still, Audra isn't ready to admit defeat. She complains that Kyle isn't innocent either, recalling how close he came to betraying Claire during their time in Nice. But when Nate shows up to confront her, Audra's confidence begins to crack. Nate refuses to accept any more half-truths or excuses. This time, he wants the real story. So, will Audra finally confess everything, or will she double down on her lies to save herself? And can Kyle keep his secret kiss hidden now that Victor is suddenly playing the role of protector instead of saboteur? One thing is certain, forgiveness and second chances are rare in Genoa City, and the fallout from these revelations is only just beginning.